Hi all you lovely kings, queens, and in-betweens, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Elaine, and today I'm going to be recapping Season 1 of Campfire Cooking in Another World with my absurd skill. Now, without any further ado, I'm going to jump into Episode 1. 27-year-old Tsuyoshi Mukouda gets summoned from Japan to a fantasy world with 3 other poor souls to become heroes of the Raisager Kingdom. The mission? Defeat the Demon King. The problem? The others have flashy skills like swordsmanship and magic, while Mukouda rolled the equivalent of the Amazon Prime class. His one and only ability is online grocery, which lets him buy food and random stuff from Japan. That's it. No swords, no magic, just same-day delivery. Unable to return home without the power of the Demon King, the others pledge to fight for the kingdom. While Mukouda doesn't feel like he's cut out to be a hero and requests early retirement with a side of quiet life, his wish is granted and he is given 20 gold as a parting gift. Realizing that his clothes make him stick out, he buys a new outfit before beginning to gather information and exploring the nature of his skill. He realizes he won't go hungry as long as he has money to shop online and can use his skill to make money, and decides to leave the country ASAP. Mukouda hitches a ride toward Kiel's and picks up some medieval trivia from a traveling merchant along the way. Soap is a luxury. Ew. Only 1 in 1,000 people have an item box. And appraisal skills are rare. Basically, hero from another world exclusive. Oh, and the borders might close soon, so Mukouda needs to get himself out of this kingdom ASAP. Once in Kiel's, Mukouda decides to head to the neighboring Venum kingdom and sets out to hire some escorts to take him. Mukouda hires Werner and his adventuring squad to escort him to the neighboring Venum kingdom. The deal? 8 gold coins and free meals on the road. The group sets out in the morning. On the journey, Mukouda whips out his camping stove like the Gordon Ramsay of isekai and starts feeding them dishes that look like they belong on a Michelin star menu. The group fends off a red boar. Mukouda stores the meat Werner and his team feels will go bad in his item box for preservation purposes. Mukouda prepares a pat of foo for that evening's meal, a sausage and vegetable stew from his homeland. After receiving such positive responses to his food from the crew, Mukouda praises them and discovers that his food increased their stats, like strength and MP. Fearing what could happen to him if anyone were to find out, he decides to keep everything a secret. The next meal Mukouda makes uses some of the red boar's meat the group acquired. The meal goes well until Fenrir appears behind the diners, terrifying the adventuring party. He's like, "Smells good. Share?" Mukouda panics, but feeds him. Fenrir's appetite is like a black hole. The exchange goes something like this. Fenrir, more. Mukouda, sure, give me a sec. Fenrir, more. Mukouda, okay. Fenrir, more. Mukouda, sobbing, please stop. By the time Fenrir's full, Mukouda's ready to collapse. But apparently, Mukouda passed the ultimate cooking exam because Fenrir is so impressed. He says he's surprised Mukouda's food and paltry amount of meat were able to satisfy him. Interested in him, Fenrir decides to form a contract with Mukouda to be his familiar. Mukouda reluctantly agrees. The contract is formed, making him responsible for Fenrir's well-being and daily needs. That's code for, "You'll be making me many more meals, Mukouda." Realizing his budget is burning faster than his stamina, Mukouda accepts the harsh truth. If he wants to survive and keep his furry overlord fed, he's gonna need a lot more gold, and maybe a Costco membership. Episode 2. After sealing the deal with Fenrir, Mukouda gets handed the ultimate responsibility, naming the giant murder puppy. After some brainstorming, they settle on Fel. Short, cool, and honestly better than something like Fluffy. As they near the border, Werner drops the bad news. Traveling with a legendary wolf is basically like walking into a medieval airport with a bazooka. People are gonna notice, and not just peasants. Big political people notice. Mukouda left the Raisager Kingdom specifically to avoid this nonsense, so he's sweating bullets. Fel, meanwhile, is like, "Don't worry. If anyone causes trouble, I'll erase them from existence." Comforting. At lunch, Mukouda brings up a serious issue. Fel is eating him out of house and home. If the Fenrir wants endless meat, he can go hunt it himself. Fel shrugs and 5 minutes later drops a rock bird the size of a car like, "Happy now?" Werner and his squad butcher it in exchange for some scraps, and Mukouda cooks up rock bird teriyaki for everyone. Michelin stars incoming. When they finally hit the border, Mukouda's worst fears come true. Guards take one look at Fel and go, "Nope. Hard pass." Eventually, they agree to let them through, but only after Fel promises not to start a medieval WWE match unless someone attacks first, with the understanding that Mukouda is supposed to keep him on a tight leash. After reinforcing the border guard's wishes to play nice by threatening to withhold Fel's meals, Fel agrees to play along. Food diplomacy. Super effective. Once inside the city, Mukouda admits to wanting to travel. He thinks it'd be fun to see the new world he's found himself in and support himself off his online grocery skill. Werner suggests he register with either the Merchant or Adventurers Guild, so he won't be charged entry taxes like he was earlier. Soon after, Mukouda is invited to meet Margrave Lindel, but refuses, disinterested. After having signed off on Werner's adventurers' completion of their escort task, the groups part ways. Having discussed his prospects with both the adventurers and Fel, Mukouda decides to register with both the Merchants and Adventurers Guild. He needs the former to be able to work as a traveling merchant who sells the leftover parts from Fel's kills, and the latter to butcher the creatures Fel takes down. Fel's fine with this because food. food. First, Mukouda registers with the Merchants Guild as an Iron Rank merchant, the lowest rank, but enough to become a traveling merchant with a food stall. Mukouda celebrates by making Fel a steak-tasting menu with fancy sauces. Mukouda makes himself a red boar steak bowl and immediately regrets enjoying it because Fel demands one too. Of course. Mukouda buys some goods from his online grocery to prepare for the following day before heading to bed. As promised when he first registered, he presents his wares to the Merchants Guild the following day. He is immediately summoned to a meeting with the guildmaster. The guildmaster takes one look at his salt and pepper and basically loses his mind. This is royal level spice. Where did you get this? Mukouda can't say, oh, just ordered it on Amazon.jp, so he lies about finding it on his travels. Understanding he can't share his secrets, the guildmaster begins making offers on Mukouda's products. And amazed, Mukouda settles on 17 gold coins for all the items he bought for 10 mere coppers. Then Mukouda registers with the Adventurers Guild at the lowest rank, G, which means he can only accept quests with a G or F rank. He learns that his membership has a validation period, and that at his rank, he has to accept at least one quest a month. To maintain his membership, he picks the easiest thing possible, medicinal herb gathering, a true hero. He'll start tomorrow. After feeding Fel, Mukouda appraises him and discovers all his stats are basically maxed out. Like, if Fel sneezed, it could probably erase a continent. Meanwhile, the adventurers lament the loss of Mukouda's cooking and discuss how they hope to see him and Fel again someday. Episode 3. Mukouda heads out with Fel to knock out his first quest, gathering medicinal herbs. Easy, right? While Mukouda's busy playing fantasy world gardener, Fel goes full apex predator and hunts down dinner. Before leaving, Fel casually casts a barrier on Mukouda to keep him safe, like, here's your magical bubble wrap, don't die while I'm gone. After collecting enough herbs, Mukouda celebrates by whipping out his camping stove and making spaghetti with meat sauce. Fel returns and they gather all the monsters he slaughtered, rockbirds, orcs, the usual Tuesday chaos. But Mukouda freezes when he realizes something. The orcs look humanish. They stand upright. They wear clothes. And Fel expects him to cook them. Mukouda's like, do I look like Hannibal Lecter? But he plays along because, well, it's dinner. To make it back before the guild closes, Fel lets Mukouda hop on his back for the ride of his life. Forget horses. This is like strapping yourself to a furry rocket launcher. After clinging to life for dear existence, they make it back to town and Mukouda gets his quest reward. He tells the guild secretary, Bianca, about the beast Fel took down, and she develops a soft spot for Mukouda at the sight of Fel. Bianca directs Mukouda to the butcher, who is shocked by both the amount he has brought back and the rank of the monsters in his pile. The butcher agrees to butcher the meat, selling only the inedible parts for Mukouda's profit, while giving him the meat for use. To help out some newbie adventurers, the butcher even preps an orc for tonight's dinner. Fel's thrilled. Mukouda still screaming internally. After receiving the meat, Mukouda sets out to make their dinner and comments how items can stay in his item box indefinitely without going bad. But he wants to use what's left over from previous meals anyway. He makes pork piccata with meat sauce. Eventually, Mukouda is able to overcome his discomfort regarding orc consumption and is able to enjoy his meal too. In the morning, Fel and Mukouda return to the butcher to gather their meat and money. Despite the processing fees already having been extracted from his earnings, Mukouda makes 202 gold coins. He is shocked. The butcher, realizing this man has zero clue how economics works, gives him a crash course in the market and some magic stones, which only show up in the bodies of monsters ranked A or higher. They're packed with magical energy. After that, Mukouda decides it's time to move before Fel's walking natural disaster energy attracts the wrong kind of attention. To celebrate their new wealth, Mukouda hits the online grocery and treats Fel to a mixed meat platter, then preps the pièce de résistance, Japanese black Wagyu steak. Fel takes one bite and has an existential crisis. People raise animals just for eating? Wild. In Fel's world, you just hunt whatever moves. After their meal, Fel admits to feeling invigorated, spurring Mukouda to cast appraisal on him, causing him to learn that consumption of his cooking has led to a 50% buff in all of Fel's stats. Not wanting to waste how he feels, Fel casts a barrier on Mukouda before going out to hunt. As Mukouda sleeps, Fel brings down numerous beasts with his strength and lightning magic. Next morning, Mukouda wakes up to a pile of corpses like he just stumbled into a monster apocalypse. He decides Wagyu is officially off the menu. Meanwhile, back at the guild, Bianca sighs to Michaela, heartbroken that she'll probably never see Fel again. Girl, he's a Fenrir. Chill. Episode 4. Mukouda, ever the curious chef turned reluctant adventurer, asks Fel if he uses magic when hunting. Fel, sounding like a seasoned predator with a sprinkle of smug, replies, nah, mostly claws and teeth. Old school style. But magic's great for crowd control, like if you're invited to a goblin party and didn't RSVP. He then flexes, metaphorically, about being best at wind magic, thanks to the goddess Ninrir's blessing. Mukouda asks if he can use magic too, and Fel says only if he possesses magic power. Mukouda checks his stats, like he's peeking at his bank account. Surprise, he's got magic. The catch? He has no idea how to use it. Fel's advice? Just think about it. Mukouda thinks so hard he could sprain a neuron and still nothing. So Fel plays Magic 101 instructor, making Mukouda put his hands on him to feel the flow. Totally not awkward. Eventually, Mukouda manages a flicker of magic, but but honestly, his talent level makes boiled cabbage look impressive. Fel says his lack of growth is to be expected, given the mediocrity of his training, and he needs battle experience to fix the issue. Mukouda protests, he doesn't want to be injured, etc. Fel is ticked, picks him up and whisks Mukouda off to gain battle experience. Next thing Mukouda knows, he's in front of a goblin camp, staring at more green faces than a St. Patrick's Day parade. He tries to refuse because of their numbers, so Fel decides to help by howling like a werewolf DJ summoning the dance floor. The goblins charge. Mukouda runs for his life, screaming like a guy who saw his online delivery mark delayed. He trips over a rock. Classic. And a goblin catches up, swinging a sword. Mukouda's internal monologue. This is it. Death by garden gnome with anger issues. But before the goblin turns him into sashimi, Fel's barrier spell kicks in, saving Mukouda's bacon. Goblins start pounding the barrier like Black Friday shoppers at a store door. Mukouda panics, yeets out some fireballs, and actually starts winning, until he collapses mid-spell like a smartphone with 2% battery left. Fel comes to his rescue. Upon awakening, Mukouda is upset with Fel and his methods, but learns he leveled up and gained a fire magic skill. To celebrate, Fel gives Mukouda a goblin king with a magic stone, then demands a feast in return because apparently saving your life comes with a catering fee. When he tries to rise to cook, Mukouda wobbles and wonders if it's because he used so much magic. He realizes he cannot cook and is forced to order supplies from his online grocery. The pair feast on melon bread and other sweets. As they're dining, Fel reiterates that he's been blessed by Ninrir, the goddess of wind. As a result, he's immune to all poisons and sicknesses and has gained protection against status ailments. It's also part of the reason he's so good with wind magic despite his innate talent. In essence, it has only made his magic stronger. After learning what Fel has gained from his goddess's blessing, Mukouda realizes he needs one too to make him stronger and sends out a desperate prayer for someone to bless him. Somewhere in divine customer service, a goddess picks up his call. Fast forward to the next town. Everyone sees Fel and freaks out like they spotted Bigfoot in a Starbucks, spurring Mukouda to present his guild card and lie. Fel is only a great wolf. Despite the lie, the people are still afraid of Fel, and Fel himself is displeased. Just a wolf? Excuse you. Mukouda is told to be more careful going forward to keep from creating panic in the future, and he agrees. Fel makes his displeasure known again and explains that because of their contract, they can communicate telepathically. The guard warns Mukouda that he is liable for any trouble Fel may cause, and they are sent on their way. Mukouda decides to look for a map while in town to keep them from having to wander without direction. Mukouda winds up in a bookstore while on his hunt for a map, and after asking after the price of a book, discovers that paper is a rare item, which makes them expensive. Maps restricted like government secrets. The library useless. Defeated, Mukouda returns to Fel to have dinner. He buys yakitori and tonkatsu from the online grocery and presents it to Fel before enjoying his own dinner. The next day, Mukouda finds himself in a pub and buys some men a round of drinks in exchange for information. They spill the tea. The Reisager kingdom is in chaos thanks to a king who thinks world domination is a fun hobby. The Armon and Leonhardt kingdoms, though, stable and full of dungeons, making them ideal for adventurers. Mukouda is hesitant to visit the dungeons and admits to needing a map before he can go anywhere. This spurs the men to offer to sell Mukouda the map they have on them. He buys it from them for a single gold coin, only to learn from the other patrons after they leave that he had been ripped off. The maps are sold at the Adventurers Guild for a silver coin each. Fel comforts him, and they decide to go east next, which will draw them closer to the sea. A blue slime begins to explore the world and try new things. It spots Mukouda and Fel out camping. Episode 5. Ninrir begins to take an interest in Mukouda, since she's surprised he managed to form a contract with Fel. Fel takes Mukouda to a lakeside, where he shocks fish with his lightning magic for Mukouda to prepare for the next meal. As Mukouda gathers Fel's catch, he discovers Fel has been eating poisonous fish, and won't allow it anymore since the poison would harm him, and can't be allowed to come in contact with the other ingredients. After buying some supplies from his online grocery, Mukouda prepares the fish in various ways for them both to enjoy. After they enjoy their meal, Mukouda rises and his foot makes contact with a slime. Mukouda begins to bond with it once Fel assures him it's harmless, and Mukouda realizes it's cold and jiggly like jelly. He thinks it's adorable and appraises it. Yup, weak as overcooked noodles. Mukouda wants to feed it, but is all out of food to offer. That's when the slime starts consuming the remnants of the traveler's meals, like empty bottles. When Mukouda remarks it'll eat trash, Fel explains the slime will eat anything. The slime continues to eat, and Mukouda is forced to rescue his pan, cooking stove, dishware, and cutlery from it. Mukouda praises the slime for eating the trash, and it jumps into his arms happy, spurring Fel to remark that the slime has become Mukouda's familiar as well. Mukouda is confused. He never made a contract with the slime. Fel explains that it was the slime's fervent wish to become his familiar, and he accepted its feelings, which was enough to create a contract. Fel urges Mukouda to name his new familiar. Mukouda names the slime Sui. Mukouda has picked up some earth magic, but isn't very talented. Fel suggests trying battle experience again. Mukouda refuses. Mukouda prepares a miso-marinated orc bowl for their lunch after Fel declares he is hungry. After letting Sui know they shouldn't eat the bowl, only the stuff inside it, the group digs in. After their initial portion, Mukouda realizes that orc meat doesn't seem weird to him anymore, and he takes it to mean that he's gotten used to the food in the new world. After the meal, Mukouda appraises Sui and realizes that the consumption of his empty water bottle earlier and the food provided them with some buffs. This causes him to realize that eating food can temporarily boost your stats, but doesn't have any effect on your level. Then, Sui graduates from eating trash to doing dishes, which officially makes them Mukouda's favorite child. They all celebrate Sui's big day with dorayaki. The next day, Mukouda is awoken by his familiars and informed by Fel that he has something important to discuss with him. He tells Mukouda that the previous night he received a divine message from Ninrir. He reveals that he knows Mukouda was jealous of his blessing and wished for his own. Mukouda confirms, and Fel reveals that Mukouda's wish reached his goddess, who was prepared to grant Mukouda's wish in exchange for a weekly prayer offering made of otherworldly sweets. Conditions: no skipping snacks Sunday. Perks: immunity to all status ailments except instant death and super cursed. Plus, magic gets easier. Fel also warns that it's vital Mukouda not neglect his weekly offering. Mukouda agrees. Ninrir's first order: onpan, cream bread, and melon bread. Mukouda prays. Fel gives him prayer 101. Just sound like you mean it. Makes the offering and boom, minor blessing achieved. Ninrir immediately starts snacking in the divine realm. Now that he has been blessed, Mukouda tests out his magic and realizes that he's improved a fair amount. Sui is also getting stronger, and Mukouda wonders if they'll evolve if they continue to get stronger. Mukouda continues to practice to the point of exhaustion and refreshes himself with sweets. Fel returns from an errand, finds out he missed the chocolate, and demands some. Ninrir barges in via divine DM, demanding chocolate and dorayaki. Mukouda: ma'am, it hasn't even been a week. Chill. Ninrir: no, you chill and hand over the snacks. Mukouda caves because arguing with a deity who controls your buffs is a bad idea. Fel notices the new offering and is like, impressive, you're so devoted. Mukouda: bro, I'm being mugged by a goddess. The group sets out, and Mukouda informs Fel of how much his magic has improved since receiving the blessing. Fel is not impressed and decides to take Mukouda somewhere. Ninrir watches Mukouda and Fel enjoying their food and laments that she can't have onpan. Episode 6. Fel drags Mukouda to a freshly spawned dungeon like a dad throwing his kid into the deep end of a pool and saying, swim! Mukouda naturally is screaming, I don't even like dungeon! But Fel hits him with the guilt trip. If I'm not around someday, you'll need to protect yourself. Mukouda sighs, realizing this wolf is basically his toxic gym buddy. Before entering, Mukouda orders a buffet from his online grocery because if you're going to suffer, you might as well carb load like a king. He explains the plan. Eat food, get buffs, survive. Maybe. Fel and Sui nod like this is the best pre-dungeon brunch ever. They chow down, check stats, and boom! Mukouda's numbers are up, and Sui even leveled. Fel, still an unkillable demigod. Then Mukouda reluctantly enters the dungeon under Fel's coercion and is helped through it by Sui. As they make their way through, Fel explains that a dungeon is similar to a living creature. It will absorb anything that dies inside. Mukouda wonders why the monsters are attacking when he's with Fel. They didn't when they were in the forest. Fel explains it's because they're dungeon monsters who consider anything that enters an enemy to be taken down. Eventually, the group makes it to the last level of the dungeon, where Mukouda must fight Cobalt. Fel, being the supportive mentor he is, yeets Mukouda into the fight with a cheery, good luck! Mukouda teams up with Sui, who's melting foes with acid, while Mukouda hurls stone bullets like a very angry gardener. After they defeat the majority of the kobolds, an enraged Kobold King emerges. It's pissed they killed his army. While fighting the Kobold King, Mukouda uses too much magic and begins to wear down, forcing Sui to come in for the rescue. The slime melts the Kobold King with one of his acid attacks. Mukouda passes out. When Mukouda awakens outside the dungeon, he discovers that Sui leveled up, is no longer a baby slime, can use acid bullets, and can talk. Like Sui, he discovers that he is also level 7. He has also gained the earth magic skill. Mukouda checks stats and realizes Sui is stronger than him. His familiar is literally outdoing him like a kid beating their dad at video games. Fel returns from his hunt and demands a feast for helping Mukouda unlock his earth magic skill. Even though he's upset with Fel for lying about the fact that his barrier spell may break back in the dungeon, Mukouda decides to buy some things from the online grocery before preparing a meal of oyakudon for everyone. After the meal, Mukouda asks if Fel has spoken to Sui already. Fel says he has, and Sui confirms. They had spoken to Uncle Fel a lot after they got out of the dungeon. Mukouda finds the name hilarious, while Fel is not amused. He yells at Sui, frightening the slime, forcing Mukouda to comfort Sui as Mukouda playfully chastises Fel for his behavior. Reluctantly, Fel agrees to let Sui call him uncle, but only Sui. The episode backtracks to when Fel carried Mukouda out of the dungeon after he passed out. When Sui expresses concern over their master, Fel is surprised to hear their voice. Sui is happy their voice is being heard and they can speak like master and speak to others. This is when Fel first hears he's an uncle and is unamused by the honorific even though Sui explains goblins, that they feel Fel's qualities, like being older than them and big and strong, make them a good uncle, and uncles are great. With episode 7. Mukouda and company cut through the territory owned by Orthros and griffins. He fears he will be eaten alive. Despite Fel's confidence, they are attacked by young Orthros. Fel deletes one like an overpowered antivirus program, and the rest flee faster than a diet plan on cheat day. On their path, they discover healing mushrooms, a mushroom that can be used as food and as medicine. They easily heal deep cuts and broken bones. Thinking them useful, Mukouda decides to stock up. Sui is attracted to the smell of the mushrooms and asks to try some. Mukouda allows it. Sui begins glowing after eating the mushrooms, spurring Mukouda to appraise his familiar, causing him to learn that Sui had acquired a skill called healing potion creation. Fel thinks it has to do with Sui's consumption of a large amount of the mushrooms. He knew of a slime that ate so much metal they became a metal slime with an associated skill, leading Mukouda to surmise that slimes can change based on the things that they eat. Sui tests their new skill and cranks out a high-quality potion so good it could fix big ouchies. They can also make weaker potions, which Mukouda bottles up like a medieval Etsy shop. Fel declares Sui a genius because most slimes can't even form a thought, let alone create potions. The group enters Griffin territory on their travels, where they are approached by a Griffin, who makes a request of Fel. To become head, he asks to fight Fel. Fel accepts, saying he will not go easy on the Griffin. Telepathically, Mukouda instructs Fel not to kill the Griffin. The pair fight, and Fel emerges victorious, Mukouda stepping in to keep the Griffin from being killed, chastising Fel for going too far. The Griffin thanks Fel for the fight, a good way to end. Mukouda and Sui use a pair of powerful healing potions on the Griffin, making him well. Mukouda points out he even inflicted a small wound upon Fel. The talking Griffin becomes head honcho of its pride and thanks Fel like this was some WWE career move. As a reward, Mukouda gets a Griffin feather, a do not eat me pass for future Griffin territory visits. Relieved they won't become dinner, Mukouda cooks up orc tonkatsu for supper. Mid-meal, Fel suddenly realizes Mukouda has been ghosting Ninrir. Big mistake. Fel forces Mukouda to make an emergency sweet offering because apparently the goddess runs on sugar and validation. After emerging from the forest, Fel is alarmed to hear they're almost out of meat. While in search of a man-made road, they spot a caravan being attacked by bandits. Fel rescues the caravan in exchange for Mukouda making the evening's meal extra special. Lambert, the caravan's employer, is grateful, as is Lars, leader of the Phoenix adventurer party he hired. While sharing pleasantries, Lars drops that he's heard rumors of someone having contracted a Fenrir as a familiar. Lambert says they're making their way to the city of Carolina, a northwestern city in the kingdom of Leonhardt. The groups decide to travel together to the city. Ninrir is upset she's been forgotten by Mukouda and has not received an offering. To receive her forgiveness, Mukouda makes an offering of western sweets. Ninrir is pleased and demands the same amount be prepared for her next time. Mukouda is like, as you wish, goddess. Episode 8. While traveling with the caravan, Mukouda discovers that rumors about Fel have spread throughout the world and fears the attention Fel's drawing as much as what would happen if others were to discover his own abilities. That evening, for Fel's special meal, Mukouda uses their leftovers to make karaage of various meats. The smell is so good the entire caravan shows up like it's an all-you-can-eat buffet. Mukouda, he doesn't get a single bite. His payment for feeding an army? A night off from guard duty. Gee, thanks. Totally worth losing all that karaage for the privilege of sleeping while other people work. The next day, the travelers arrive in the city of Carolina. The bandits are turned over to the authorities, and Mukouda pays a visit to the local adventurers guild with the Phoenix adventurer party. There, he discovers his membership has been revoked since he hasn't accepted a request in over a month. The guild receptionist suggests he try leveling to F, because he only needs to be active once every 3 months at that level. He can accept quests that give more experience and better rewards. Mukouda re-registers with the guild and sells the monsters Fel hunted down. The Phoenix adventurers are amazed by the collection. When they discover their meal was made of high-quality foods like black serpent, they apologize to Mukouda for not appreciating it properly. They're relieved he isn't offended, and Lars invites Mukouda to reach out should he need anything. Mukouda decides he's going to stay in town for a bit and try to make it to rank F, so he can take advantage of the guild's butcher service. Then, oh joy, he hears Ninrir's voice. Shoot! Offerings! Mukouda panics, orders some sweets, and hands them over like a kid turning in late homework. Ninrir devours them like a sugar gremlin and chirps, "Don't forget next time," as if she's not the reason he nearly had a heart attack. Next day, quest planning time. Mukouda wants something chill like flower picking. Fel says goblins. Mukouda says hard pass. Fel says, Sui, back me up. Sui says, goblins sound fun. Mukouda loses 2-1. Democracy sucks. So off they go goblin hunting. Mukouda survives the fight, but now he has to chop off goblin ears as proof. Cue him bawling like someone just spoiled his favorite anime, while Fel mocks him like a smug big brother. His wailing attracts more goblins. Great job, Mukouda. So the gang wipes out an entire goblin settlement. Sui has the time of their life. Guess who's left with ear collecting duty? Yep, Mukouda. To keep from attracting other monsters and potentially causing a dungeon to be created, they decide to have Sui melt the goblin bodies to protect the nearby city. Sui grows significantly larger until they tower over over Fel and Mukouda, causing Fel to realize Sui has evolved further. Mukouda appraises Sui and realizes they are now a big slime and have gained the proliferate ability. When they try to shrink back down to normal, they wind up breaking apart into an army of normal-sized Suis, and as a team, melt the goblin corpses. After they're done and Sui returns to normal, the group enjoys a savory bread feast. When Fel expresses his enjoyment, Mukouda realizes he is grateful for the meals, embarrassing Fel. Meanwhile, in Goddess Land, Ninrir is happily munching her sweets when the other goddesses peek in like, "Sis, what are you plotting?" Because clearly, free snacks equals a master plan. Episode 9. Mukouda returns to the guild with proof of his request's completion, and the amount of proof causes quite a stir. He's informed that the guild master wants to speak with him and that he should bring his familiars, which is basically like being told the principal wants to see you. Also, bring your parents and your dog. Mukouda is sweating buckets. He meets Willem, the guild master, who drops the bomb. An urgent message from the royal palace. Mukouda braces for execution, and instead, it's a love letter. Turns out the king says, "Live freely, bro, just, be there if the kingdom goes kaboom." Mukouda is pleased by the thought of his newfound freedom. In exchange for bumping Mukouda's rank to C, Willem asks that Fel complete a few quests on his behalf. Before they set out, Mukouda asks for a few more monsters Fel hunted down to be butchered, like a chimera and an orthros, and Willem tells the butcher, Johan, to keep things quiet. They're told to return the following day for Mukouda's C-rank guild card. With Sui's help, Mukouda prepares rockbird bambanji and rockbird and pepper stir-fry. The next day, Mukouda returns for a shiny new C-rank card, which comes with the thrilling perk of taking one quest every 6 months. Truly a lifestyle upgrade. Then he gets paid for the monsters, the total 1,946 gold coins. That's not just guild record breaking, it's buy the entire tavern and rename it after your slime money. And that's without the chimera and orthros. Mukouda realizes he's sitting on over 2,000 gold and briefly contemplates starting a hedge fund. Mukouda gets his new guild assignments, hunt a metal lizard and a pack of bloody horn bowls. Translation: go fight something with built-in armor and then take on a herd of murder cows. They are asked to pursue the metal lizard first. Before setting out on their hunt, Mukouda and company visit Lambert's shop, where he picks out a new bag to carry Sui in, a belt with a sheath for his knife, a purse, and new boots. Lambert gives them to Mukouda for free for saving his life and feeding him such wonderful, high-quality food. Since Lambert is a merchant dealing primarily in leather goods, he asks to buy skins from Mukouda in the future, especially those belonging to serpent-type monsters. Mukouda agrees. Mukouda makes karaage for dinner, enough to stuff both of his familiars and also feed himself with some leftover for snacks. Ninrir enjoys her latest offering from Mukouda, but resents him saying she may gain weight if she continues to eat too many sweets. The other goddesses are intrigued by the sight of her and the food from another world. Episode 10. Upon arriving at the metal lizard's cave, Mukouda appraises it and realizes it has evolved into a mithril lizard. Fel thinks it mutated after eating some mithril ore, rendering magic less effective against it. He explains that mithril is light and sturdy and highly compatible with magic. It can easily absorb and diffuse magic attacks. Despite this, Fel easily defeats the monster with his magic. Mukouda sets about collecting some ore, thinking it would make a good weapon and armor. Fel tells him not to waste his time. Nothing is stronger than his barrier. Mukouda manages to grab a few scraps anyway before Fel drags him off because someone's craving bloody horn bowl. Spoiler, it's Fel. Fel and Sui quickly defeat them all. After collecting the herd, the adventurers eat some orc and rockbird katsu sandwiches made from the cutlets Mukouda had fried the previous day, and cola, which looks suspiciously like Pepsi. Fel burps mid-meal and tries to act all dignified like it didn't happen. Sure, buddy. Back at the guild, Willem and Johan nearly faint when they see the mithril lizard. Johan dramatically announces, "The last one was seen 400 years ago," which is guild speak for "holy cannolis, you're rich now." Willem realizes this means a shiny new mithril vein was found, which is basically like discovering an oil field in your backyard. Johan explains that mithril ore is a rare metal among rare metals. There are only 3 known mountains where it can be found. Willem says he will have to hand the mithril lizard over to the guild. The city lord will probably want to present the skin as a gift of tribute to the king, along with the news about the newly discovered mithril mine where it was found. Mukouda can expect a large bounty for the completion of the quest and information about the mine. Willem and Johan are shocked when they turn in the bloody hornbull herd as well. Despite worrying his peaceful life is circling the drain, Mukouda celebrates by making bloody hornbull steak for dinner. Fel takes a bite and declares raw meat is dead to him now because Mukouda's cooking is god tier. Sui agrees, happily jiggling like a Michelin-starred slime. Mukouda makes an offering to the greedy Ninrir, only to be confronted by the 3 other goddesses. The goddesses say they are going to bestow their blessings on him in exchange for sweets. Ninrir is salty because they call her stingy for giving Mukouda a baby tier blessing. Then comes the kicker. Mukouda learns he has no wind affinity. Ouch. But Kasharl says, "Don't worry, earth and fire love you." Agni chimes in like an MLM recruiter. 2 blessings and you'll be invincible, capable of casting more powerful spells for less. Ninrir is horrified because the god of creation literally told them to stop passing blessings out like coupons. So the fire and earth goddesses agree to give only minor blessing, which still sounds OP as heck. Mukouda tries to decline, thinking it'd be unfair for him to have more than 1 blessing, but Agni isn't having it. both Agni and Kisharl bless Mukouda. Since Mukouda has no affinity with water, Rusalka, the goddess of water, knows her blessing won't be very useful to him, and is saddened by the thought that if she doesn't bless him, she'll be the only one without any offering. The other goddesses insist Mukouda do something so she won't be sad, so he offers to have Sui blessed by Rusalka instead. Sui actually has an affinity for water and is blessed, but it's not a minor blessing. Rusalka says it's okay, since she only blesses one person every 100 years or so, while the others bless people every decade. Mukouda promises equal offerings to everyone from now on, and makes a group dessert tray like it's goddess Thanksgiving. To help Sui understand what the blessing means, they decide to test it out the following day, and find out they've both gotten swole. While Mukouda's building an earth magic house like he's on HGTV, Fel goes hunting and returns with a black serpent for Lambert. Marie, Lambert's wife, claims to be thinking about all the bags she has been given by him, and how she may want to give one to her younger sister. Marie claims she has too many bags and accessories, all from him, and doesn't need more. Lambert has an existential crisis because their anniversary is coming, and his gift game is officially dead. Episode 11. Mukouda strolls back into the guild to get the black serpent butchered, pockets some bloody hornbull meat, and grabs his payment like a man casually running errands, except his errands involve mythical creatures. For dinner, he goes full gourmet chef again and whips up bloody hornbull and orc general hamburger steaks, because why settle for one kind of meat when you can make a combo platter? Mukouda presents Lambert with the black serpent skin, who buys it from him for 50 gold coins. Then he asks for Lambert's opinion on modern soap, shampoo, conditioner, and hair products. Would people be interested in these items? Lambert's eyes light up like Christmas in July. Turns out his anniversary is coming up, and his wife is tired of drowning in handbags. She wants something different. Oh, and she loves baths. Cue Mukouda realizing baths exist here, and having a personal epiphany. A tub? I must have one. Civilization is saved. Mukouda leaves Lambert with some samples and comes back the next day, only to be greeted by Lambert and his wife Marie, who looks like she just discovered a new religion. Apparently, she sniffed her husband, noticed he smelled like spa instead of sweaty man, and immediately hijacked the soap and shampoo. Verdict? Obsessed. Marie basically says, if you don't sell this stuff through Lambert, you're dead to me. Mukouda agrees because he doesn't have a store, and hey, free marketing. He leaves them stocked up like they're opening a medieval Bath and Body Works. Feeling accomplished, Mukouda checks in with Fel and Sui before heading back to the guild, only to learn there's a stray wyvern problem. He goes to the guildmaster for the usual please don't ruin my peaceful life chat, and instead Willem drops a 5,800 gold coin payday on him for the mithril mine discovery in recent quest. Mukouda instantly decides, I'm buying the biggest tub this kingdom has ever seen. Before he can celebrate his future bubble baths, the receptionist barges in on their meeting and informs them a wyvern swarm has appeared and started attacking adventurers in the western plain. They all escaped, but many of them were poisoned and badly injured. After seeing the bad shape everyone is in, Mukouda helps by offering some of the high-quality potions Sui crafted. As the situation is being managed, Willem announces that they have to hunt the wyvern. It's an emergency quest from the guild. All adventurers ranked C and up are required to participate. Willem knows everyone must be uneasy, but they must protect the city. It's their duty as adventurers. Before they can head out, Fel appears and asks that the wyverns be left to him. Mukouda panics, but Fel hears, you get to keep what you kill, and suddenly he's more motivated than a dog at a bacon festival. Fel insists the other adventurers don't join in, because they'll get in his way. Willem reluctantly agrees, and Mukouda ends up hiding behind a conveniently placed rock, while Fel and Sui go full aerial demolition team. When Mukouda is attacked by a stray wyvern, his familiars come to the rescue. After the wyverns have been destroyed, both familiars admit to working up an appetite, so Mukouda prepares ground meat cutlets with the leftovers from their previous meal. Meanwhile, across the continent, the other heroes who were summoned with Mukouda are sitting around a campfire, wondering if he's still alive. They think, his stats were garbage. He'd be toast if he was attacked by a great wolf. They recognize they also need to get stronger to defeat the Demon King and return home. They've also heard the rumors of the adventurer with a Fenrir for a familiar, and wish their food didn't taste like sadness. Episode 12. Mukouda strolls back into the guild like a man who just cleared the world's most stressful pest control job, announcing, yeah, about those wyverns, totally extinct now. Willem's face says, wow, but his wallet says, nope. Turns out the guild can't afford to buy all 13 wyverns, because apparently, we're broke is a guild motto. But they'll butcher them for free. Generous, right? Oh, and they can only afford half the material. That night, Mukouda remembers his divine sugar daddies, goddesses, are waiting for offering. While browsing like it's an after-hours Amazon spree, the goddesses start blowing up his spiritual DMs with requests for special treatment and extra items. Ninrir is easy. Just give me sweets, big guy. Agni wants booze like your favorite aunt at Christmas. Kisharl demands shampoo and soap like she's running a spa empire. And Rusalka, she wants a Michelin star meal straight from Mukouda's kitchen. Mukouda sighs, realizing he's basically a cosmic DoorDash driver now. After making the offering, Mukouda heads into town with his familiars the following day and purchases a tub and carries it out in his item box. Now that they're known for defeating the wyverns, Mukouda lets Fel know he's not as comfortable in town, so they head to the forest. While Fel is out hunting, Mukouda and Sui, being the DIY kings they are, whip up a bathhouse and enjoy a good soak in the brand new tub like two guys who just scored the ultimate hot spring deal. After their bath, Mukouda decides to prepare some of the wyvern meat and makes a special wyvern gyudon and wyvern stew. Then, Fel returns with an earth dragon he killed. Mukouda enters scolding mode. His inventory looks like a rare monster museum, and Fel just keeps adding exhibits. As they're talking, Fel gets a whiff of the food Mukouda made while he was out hunting and wants to dig in. But Mukouda tells him he's filthy and can't eat until he's cleaned up. Fel, the proud war beast, now looks like a cat being lowered into water. So he and Mukouda scrub him down while Fel dies inside, then dry him with magic like a giant grumpy Pomeranian. Over dinner, Mukouda drops the bomb. Congrats, Fel, you're getting monthly baths now. Fel glares, but when Sui chirps up about how shiny and fluffy he is and how much they love it, pride wins. Fel, the murder dog, secretly likes being fabulous. Next day, they try to butcher the earth dragon, but the local butcher takes one look and says, nope, that's above my pay grade. So Willem suggests they go to Dolan. They have a guild master there who knows a lot about dragons and may be able to help. Fel still wants to visit the sea and enjoy some seafood, so they decide to try and butcher the dragon on the way. Mukouda says his goodbyes to all the friends he made in town, is given a reference letter for the guild master by Willem, along with a detailed map. Then, the adventurers set out for Dolan to meet the guild master. After enjoying the wyvern stew Mukouda prepared, his familiars announce that they cannot wait to see what they'll eat next. Mukouda knows he is to blame for turning them into foodies. And there you have it, Campfire Cooking in Another World with My Absurd Skill Season 1 in a nutshell. What did you think of my recap? Did I leave anything out? Are you as excited for Season 2 as I am? Let me know down below in the comments. I always like to know what you lovely kings, queens, and in-betweens think. And if you like what you saw here today, please smash that like button until it's blue, subscribe, ring that bell so you'll always know what's up, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Bye guys!